Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video, my sports Gematria. One thing that I realized, and another guy who does Patreon helped me realize, is that the stats for um, the play-in tournaments, they don't count towards the players or the postseason record, the head-to-head records, the coach records. And so essentially, all my pick preview videos that I did for both the Eastern and the Western Conference play-in tournaments on the two games are worthless because I used, all postseason records and stats, and they don't count. And I remember that because last season, the play-in tournament, the Blazers versus the Grizzlies when it was in the bubble, same thing. I went back and I looked at the stats for their coach postseason for the head to head, and none of it was logged. And I saw, news articles of Jay Morant going off and his stats not counting, considering them ghost stats or whatever. So basically, everything that was in those pick preview videos, most of it anyway, was not good, and it actually ended up making me change my mind on my picks for today. Um, I looked over my decode that I did for the Blazers and Grizzlies last year, and basically all I used was the current overall season record, current head-to-head record between the two teams for the current season. And that was basically it, nothing more, nothing less. And so that's what I did. I did that really quick, and I typed up my picks for the Patreon, and I landed on Pacers and Celtics. And the reason why, if you watch my picks preview video, so I took out the coach record. I took out the head to head postseason all time. I took out the team's individual postseason record. And all I'm looking at is the season record, current season, whether they're on a winning or a losing streak for the season, and then the head to head record between the two teams for the current season. And with everything else erased, I was actually kind of digging the Hornets a little bit. You can kind of tell my picks preview video. But with everything else erased and just looking at these specific numbers, I went with the 22, seventh day of the ninth month on the Hebrew Civil, 79, the 22nd prime. Hornets get their 22nd loss on the road to end their season. Pacers tie 2-2 head-to-head against the Hornets for the season, like 22. And it was the 242nd day of the Hebrew Civil, 242. And with the win, Pacers became 14-23 at home for the season. 14-23 is the 224th prime number. 224 is just an anagram of 242. And that's basically why I picked them. Hornets sit on 33 wins for this season as they end their season. 33 sums to 66, it being the 66th day on the Hebrew religious. Also sums to 156, 141, 28 date numerology on the Gregorian sums to 156 and 141. So I ended up changing my mind and going with the Pacers, and it worked out. Still kind of feel like a little bit of luck there, probably a massive amount of luck. And then I switched it up and I went with the Celtics. If you watched the picks preview video, Celtics had some serious numbers against them. It was the 318, the 138. The coach would have got his 318th loss or something like that all time. But because the all-time records for the coach don't count, the all-time records head-to-head between the two teams don't count, postseason records don't count. After you erase all that information, and this is all you're left with, again, all I could look at was the 22s. 22s and the 22s. And so Wizards still could have won and to even the score 2-2 with the Celtics. Seventh day of the ninth month on the Hebrew Civil, 79, the 22nd prime number. But Celtics could get their 22nd home win, which they did, as the Wizards get their 22nd away loss. And then Wizards would get their 39th loss for the season as they get that 22nd loss. And Celtics get that 22nd. and the number 22 sums to 39. So they have a connection with each other, the 22 and the 39. And that's all I really based it off of. You know, Celtics got their 37th win, but they could have got their 37th loss, 37th home, 37th away. Could have just as easily got their 37th loss. But I mostly just based it off the 39 and the 22. Again, I guarantee it's probably just luck. But let's take a fresh look at the Western Conference now. Now that I've taken away the coach's record and the all-time head-to-head, and we're looking at it with fresh eyes, with all the other stuff taken out of the picture now, since we know it doesn't count for the play-in tournaments. It's technically not the regular season, but yet it's technically not the playoffs. It's this middle ground where it's all this ghost phantom records, but it's still the Spurs' 73rd game for the season, and it's still the Grizzlies' 73rd game for the season, and it's still their 37th home, and it's still their 37th away. And no matter if they win or lose, they're still going to get their 34th win for the season, or their 40th overall. Whether they want to count it as a regular season win or postseason win or whatever, it's still going to be their 40th overall loss for the season or their 34th overall win for the season. So Grizzlies, what we talked about in the last video is that the number 34. Let's go to the next day here. The 19th. It's the 139th day of the Gregorian, the 34th prime number. 65 date numerology on the Gregorian. 65 sums to 139, the 34th prime number. We talked about this in the picture video. Spurs can get their 34th win for the season. Grizzlies could sit on 34 losses for the season with a win. 20 date numerology on the Gregorian. Spurs could get their 20th road win to go with that 34. And it is the 67th day of the Hebrew religious year. 67 is the 19th prime number. Grizzlies can get their 19th home win or their 19th home loss. If they do get their 19th home win, Spurs would sit on 19 away wins with the loss. And one thing I should have marked purple is the number 19. Number 19 sums to 40. Yep. And so maybe we can mark that purple. I don't know. Potentially. So that's basically all we have. That's all we have to work with. I don't have anything else. Everything else is kind of mute for the moment until they officially get into the playoffs. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help much. It's still a tough choice. It makes it even harder. Even if we look ahead, it's hard to say who's going to, 67 date numerology on the Gregorian. Grizzlies, maybe they get their 19th home win and then they sit on that and the 19 on the next game. Or if Spurs don't get their 40th loss in this game, in the next game, 67 the 19th prime, and get their 40th loss in the next game. 40 date numerology on the Hebrew Civil as well. And then Warriors and the Lakers. So again, all we have here is just their season record. And then we also have them on their winning record. So Lakers are on a 5-game win streak. Warriors are on a 6-game win streak. Somebody on my Patreon, I don't know if he wants the credit. I won't name him. But if he wants me to give him credit, I could put it in the comments. But he thought of something I didn't even think of. And it's a good catch, I think. But this is the 75th NBA season. Warriors could get their 7th win in a row as they end Lakers' 5-game win streak, 7-5, 5-7. 75th NBA season. Pretty snazzy. This is also the State Farm play-in tournament. State Farm. This is something he also mentioned as well. He came up with some good stuff. State Farm's was the 31, and that could be not so good news for the Lakers, getting that 31st loss for this season. But either one of these teams, either one of these games, like Grizzlies could become 3-1, like 31 against the Spurs. State Farm sums to 31, or the Lakers can become 3-1 head-to-head against the Warriors, like 31. But Lakers could get their 31st loss for the season as well. And I mentioned in the last picks preview video, if you watched, I was kind of, I was saying, hey, look, there is a narrative here for the Warriors, and I was giving out things, but since it's all erased now, we can't use that information. The 31, I did mention that if Lakers lost this game, the next game on Friday it has 31 date numerology on the Gregorian, it has 31 date numerology on the Hebrew Civil. It's also the 10th day of the ninth month on the Hebrew Civil, like 109, and the number 31 sums to 109. So if the Lakers are going to lose, it's going to be because of this number 31. If they're going to lose, it's going to be because of the number 31. And then I like this little 7-5. I already mentioned last time in the picks preview video, Warriors, they can get their 7th win in a row to get the 7 seed and replace the Lakers as the 7 seed. But them getting their 7th win in a row and them ending their 5-game win streak, 75th NBA season, I kind of like that a little bit better. So shout out to him for picking that up. That was good. And that's the thing about this stuff. Like I always tell you, like I tell people, I encourage people, lay this information out like the way that I do. Just mimic my stuff because, my brain's not a computer. I'm not gonna pick up every single thing. It's just not gonna happen. My brain's not like I'm not a computer. But at least you have it laid out in front of you to where you have the potential of picking it up. And grateful enough for me, I make videos on this, and so other people that are watching my videos will pick up stuff that I don't pick up, and then they'll tell me. And so it's like, oh, I didn't even catch that. It's a good one. We'll see how it plays out. I like it. But Warriors, I mean, I mentioned this in the last picks preview video though too as well. They can get their 34th loss. Go back to the day. It is the 139th day on the Gregorian year, the 34th prime, 65 date numerology, 65 sums to 139. They get the 34th loss. It could just be as simple as that. It is the 8th day of the 3rd month on the Hebrew religious, like 83, the 23rd prime number, and they would get their 23rd road loss to go with. And, yeah. They would sit on that 14 away wins as Lakers get their 43rd win for the season, the 14th prime. And then maybe this is the 31 instead of this 31 for the State Farm. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this relook helps. And if for whatever reason you had different results than I did today as far as the Celtics and the Pacers, hopefully this look back gave you an understanding of what may have happened or why it might have played out the way it did. I still feel kind of lucky a little bit, so I still base it off of that. But that was just my thought process when I changed those up for the Patreon picks. And hopefully this fresh look at Warriors and Lakers helps out. Hopefully this fresh look at Spurs and Grizzlies helps out. And then I should be doing another one for the other 2 tournament games for Thursday and Friday. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it.